It's Wednesday, the 15th of September, 2021. Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Headlines, the business news you need in just 5 minutes. I'm Sean Aylmer, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, then find more news and interviews in our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. In today's headlines, the Reserve Bank Governor says interest rates are firmly on hold as he expresses fears about the outlook for small and medium-sized businesses. Plus, the total number of COVID vaccines administered breaches 23 million. House prices soar the most since official records began almost 20 years ago, and a corporate leader is charged with insider trading. Our lead story today, Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe has warned that small and medium-sized businesses are facing extremely difficult conditions in lockdown states, and the longer they have to wait for economies to reopen, the greater the damage will be. Dr. Lowe made it clear that the central bank still expects to wait until 2024 before it lifts the official cash rate. He also dampened speculation that tougher lending standards will be used to curb rising house prices. The economy is likely to contract by at least 2% during the current quarter, he said, and potentially much more. But the setback is temporary, and growth will recover once higher vaccination rates are achieved and restrictions are eased. The country's chief economist has spoken. Rates are on hold, he isn't going to do anything about rising house prices, and most importantly and pointedly, keeping economies locked down has ramifications for the economy, for small and medium-sized businesses, and for all Australians. In overseas news, consumer prices in the US, a key measure of inflation, moderated during July, supporting the case that recent price increases in the world's biggest economy are transitory. Whether the current bout of higher prices is transitory, reflecting COVID-related issues, or structural, meaning it's here to stay, is the key question driving global financial markets at the moment. The overnight data triggered a sell-off on Wall Street. The OECD said global growth was moderating, albeit at above trend levels. The group's composite leading indicators now suggest the US and Japan will record stable growth in coming months. It comes as Bloomberg forecasts an economic slowdown in the United States, China and Germany. And in COVID news, Russian President Vladimir Putin has been forced into isolation because of possible exposure to the virus. US President Joe Biden said federal employees must be vaccinated by November 22, and his administration is drafting rules requiring large companies to have their workforces inoculated or tested weekly. And the Netherlands will introduce a Corona Pass, allowing an easing of restrictions. Locally, more than 23 million COVID-19 vaccines have been delivered across the country. And from next month, many people will be able to receive vaccinations in their place of work. Australia is closing in on 70% of the population over the age of 16 having received one jab. In New South Wales, that figure is almost 80%. Prime Minister Scott Morrison is heading to the United States for his first face-to-face meeting with US President Joe Biden next week, and climate change is on the agenda. Mr. Biden will host the first Leaders Summit of Quad, which includes the US, Australia, Japan and India. COVID-19, partnering on emerging technologies in cyberspace and promoting a free and open Indo-Pacific are also on the agenda. It's official. House prices are soaring. Residential property prices jumped 6.7% in the June quarter, the strongest quarterly growth since the Bureau of Statistics began keeping records in 2003. All capital cities recorded rises led by Canberra and Sydney, which were up more than 8%. Hobart and Melbourne both recorded increases of more than 6%. Brisbane and Adelaide were both up around 5.5%. The mean price of a house in a capital city is now $835,000, though in Sydney it's over $1.1 million. Farmers are on track to deliver products worth $73 billion this financial year, which would be a record, according to the latest forecasts. Crop production is expected to come in at a record $39.5 billion, with grains, cotton and sugar growers benefiting from higher prices, in large part due to poor weather conditions in Europe and North America. The corporate regulator has charged former Vocus executive and current executive director of Unity Group, Vaughan Bowen, with insider trading over the sale of Vocus shares in 2019. Mr. Bowen denies the charges. ASIC alleges Mr. Bowen sold shares when he knew that a takeover bid for Vocus was about to be pulled and before the rest of the market was informed. And buy now, pay later group Zipco is adding cryptocurrency trading functionality to its payment system, meaning merchants will be able to accept digital tokens such as Bitcoin for purchases. Zip USA's chief executive, Brad Lindenberg, said it was a shift into a range of products that comprises the millennial finance diet. That's the Fear and Greed business headlines for today. Make sure you hit follow so you get it every morning and search for our longer daily podcast called Fear and Greed. There you'll also find our daily interview. Today we're talking to Roger Montgomery about whether we could still have a COVID-induced market crash or correction. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook and Twitter, or go to fearandgreed.com.au. I'll be back later with the afternoon market report. I'm Sean Aylmer. Have a great day.